in the garage today, and what I got going on is I pulled the header and turbo off of the Lexus because our wastegate, this little guy right here, is a 38mm wastegate, and we're having boost creep issues, so I went ahead and ordered a 44mm, so a slight upgrade on that to try to alleviate that. So what I've done on this one is I just welded the V-band for my little universal wastegate onto this flat flange that this header came with. So I'm gonna have to cut off that V-band, and what I'll probably go ahead and do this time, what I should have done the first time honestly, is just cut this side of the flange and weld my V-band there. One of the reasons I didn't want to do that is because this thing is on there and is airtight and it seems to be sealed up good, so it's like I don't want to open up a can of worms by doing that, but at this point welding a larger V-band onto a smaller one doesn't make any sense, and if I'm cutting stuff anyway, then well, I might as well do it the way that it needs to be done. But it's kind of a headache to get this thing out of there. I had to pull the compressor off, pull the bumper off, pull our charge pipe off, because now that all the pipes are rigid, they won't just move out of the way like a coupler, normal silicone coupler system. So you got to take the whole pipe off, and then I had to pull a couple of these studs out of here just to be able to fit the turbo and everything out. If I would have removed the turbo, I wouldn't have had to do any of that, but removing the turbos requires taking the center housing off to get to this inside nut right here. A couple other little things I noticed, and I'm gonna get a whole bunch of I told you so's on this, but our timing belt, there's a big old chunk out of it right there. The bottom side looks unscathed. It's just like a nick on the top, and I don't really like that very much. It's probably from my damn hood prop bouncing around or something, I'm not sure. But I hope that's not a problem anytime soon. I really don't feel like doing it, but when I do go to put a new belt on it, I'm gonna put the covers back on, just because it was kind of stupid to leave them off. It seemed cool at the time, not practical, and our timing alignment marks are on the back, on the inner cover, so setting timing was a pain also. So we will be putting the covers back on that whenever I service that. Also, my oil feed line was like kinked, and I was kind of just bending it and it snapped. So now I got a new oil feed line coming. And what else? So upgrading the wastegate, replacing the oil feed, making note of the belt. I'm not doing that belt right now. That belt's fine. That'll get us through the rest of the year. Unless I see something else somewhere else that's alarming. But yeah, that's pretty much the size of it. So I got the bumper and all my custom made pipes and such just chilling on the roof, and this is what we're gonna be looking at this week. I should have my new wastegate parts this weekend, and this weekend we're also gonna be trying to figure out the transmission issue on the Z, and there'll be more on that to come. I got the old V-band for the small wastegate chopped off of here, and we're about to weld on the new one. This had like a rectangle flange on it that I kind of cut the corners off of to make welding a little easier. It was a really odd sized flange that didn't seem to work with any common wastegates, so it was no use to us anyway. But I just kind of hacked the corners off of this so we get a little closer to our weld. We're gonna be welding it up with some ER 316 filler, which is a stainless filler, and 3/16 tungsten, 2% lanthanated, and see if we can make some pretty welds on this. First attempt. First little spot started okay. Other side went bad. Looks like a lot of shit in the middle that's floating up. So we're gonna grind it down and try again. Got the V-band welded on. It went okay. Show you some of those welds here. Not great, not terrible. Had to chop it off after the first attempt and grind it down to get it nice and clean, but worked out just fine in the end. Welded a lot better after grinding off basically all the surface area off of the metal area, off of the steel there. So this is our new wastegate, 44mm. It's going to be a huge improvement. The other one actually did choke down the opening on the header, so I didn't really have to change anything with the header. The size of this V-band for this gate is no smaller than the outlet of the header, so no modification needed there. I am going to have to do another dump to go down here. I'm still waiting on parts for that, but that's going to be our new wastegate. Greetings folks, Steve here, and tonight we are in Frisco with Old Goldie here. We are at the storage unit in which we store the car whenever it's not in use. This is my buddy's garage that I rent out from him. So that allows us to keep the car, you know, because I don't have anywhere to put it. So what we got on the books for tonight, we have less than 3 weeks to IFO, and we just put a freshly built
custom modified transmission in this thing, deleted all the wave plates out of the clutch packs, drilled out the separator plate, locked a couple of the valves on the valve body, and the transmission is shifting nice and hard, but we are getting a lot of hesitation from second to third gear. The reason we believe that's happening is because of the increase in line pressure. Oh, look who it is.
Hi, how are you?
And Matt's here. So anyway, the reason that we think the delay is happening is because the increase in line pressure is added to governor pressure. Actually, let me back up. Line pressure is added to throttle pressure, and they have to fight against governor pressure to make the shift happen. We have the speed, we have the governor pressure, but since there's more line pressure than normal, the governor pressure is not able to overcome the valve, in part because of throttle pressure. So, real simple test I figured out that we should try is putting this check valve in the vacuum source to our throttle pressure input, or our throttle modulator on the transmission. This is going to keep vacuum on the modulator so that the throttle valve remains low, or throttle pressure remains low, and the governor pressure can then overpower our increased line pressure to make the shift happen. So if this
sounds good to me.
If this works, then I still think we should go in and lock the throttle valve in the low throttle area, because I just don't know that this little plastic thing is going to handle 22 psi for very long. Is it going to hold that pressure? Because it has to keep that 22 psi
through the whole pass
from hitting that modulator. In fact, the modulator will switch at just ambient, like basically wide open throttle in an NA. So anything that's close to ambient will cause that valve to switch too. So it has to remain under vacuum for the entire 11 seconds of the pass. But this is a quick test that we can do before we start taking anything apart. With the last transmission, it felt okay, but it was slipping in second. We put this one in, and it starts acting up like this. Like, well, this valve body was in the other trans, and it seemed to work okay.
Yeah.
So we're left wondering, is this a transmission problem, or is this something we can fix through modifying or adjusting the valve body? We do have the old transmission here too.
Just in case.
Just in case. We got 3. We got to figure out the transmission tonight and be done with the Z. The Z should be sitting waiting for IFO for the next 3 weeks so we can finish the Lexus, which currently doesn't have an exhaust manifold or a turbo on it. I got it all tore apart. I'm making a bunch of changes to boost control there, but there'll be more on that later. So right now, I'm going to put this little check valve in our reference hose, this blue hose here, and we're going to take a quick ride.
See what the hell happens.
See if we can find third gear when we're supposed to.
Yeah.
All right, so change of plans. That check valve fell apart in my hands before we even got to install it. I was like sticking it into the silicone hose, and it started like cracking and fell apart. Never would have held up to boost at all. That would have been a waste of time. But all we're going to need to do, we don't even need to pull the valve body here. I was just reading up on the description and operation of the throttle valve, and all we need to do is pull out the little stick that connects the throttle modulator valve on the outside of the case to the valve body on the inside. Pressures in the valve body will automatically push that valve into the low pressure position, and as long as nothing acts upon it to push it inward, it's not going to move. So we don't have to worry about pulling the pan or anything. So at this point, I'm just waiting for Matt's bringing a drip pan from his extended stay at O'Reilly's. And so I'm going to need that just to keep the floor clean. But we shouldn't lose very much fluid, and we should be able to just pull the stick out without pulling the pan off at all, just through the modulator hole. So as soon as we get that going, we're going to take it for a quick rip, and I think it's going to shift just fine. All right, let's see what it does, baby. Oh!
And it felt good,
It
too.
felt great.
Wow.
And they grabbed third just fine.
Second was a slight delay, but not way better than we're used to. Normally
Yeah.
it goes all the way through. So I think that felt great.
Hell
That
yeah.
felt fucking awesome.
Let's hope for some more of that. Just go ahead and drop it in a second. Let's just see if we can get a 2-3 shift. Whoa, what was that? Try to get us back on a straight.
Yeah.
Let's try again. Did you skip third? Or skip
I
drive?
don't think so. It felt like it clicked in.
It's in third now though, right?
Yeah.
Like everything feels alright now?
Maybe just a little flare. Felt like it engaged right when I let off throttle a little bit. So
Yeah. You first?
Yep.
Alright, let's go. Nice.
Second's a little sloppy, but third is
I think
crisp.
you were a little slow. I think you were a little slow. Remember, we got to shift this at 6. We're trying to make the shift at 6. I mean, if it takes a second, that's fine as long as it grabs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw your hand. It looked like it was it's just a little slow. So you might try to move your hand, or like when you see it.
It's coming up through first real fast, bro.
I mean, we're making a lot of power, so you have to kind of anticipate.
Yeah.
But it found it, which is the important thing. Is it grabbed it.
Yeah.
And then it grabbed third really well too.
Honestly, it feels real good.
The car is making steam. Yeah. So let's see if we can make maybe one more rip to prove it.
Yeah,
and then
I'm gonna cut around, not this one, on the next one, because we gotta get straight right here. That was the first place we made it in. So.
And then we'll catch the next turn back to the. Let's not wear it out before IFO. But it's grabbing third. That's the important thing. I think we're good to go. Or not? I assume. Whoa, easy, bro. You're freaking me out.
Dude, I wasn't even giving it much throttle.
I know, dude.
It's going in the boost so fast.
It's just hitting this curve going that fast.
Yeah. I'll hit both gears right away.
Yeah, I think we're good. But catch the next U-turn. Maybe if we can, we'll do one more rip, but I feel pretty good about it. Fuck. Well, that kind of feels like it's blowing through altogether.
Alright, hold on.
It might be hot, dude. But that really shouldn't cause that.
Let's see one more, make sure it's good.
I don't know, I thought we were just making it hot. If it was spinning at first, for sure.
I let off second instead of staying in it. Just
I know.
Popping, you know.
I know, the 1-2 shift was not nice. Another fucked up thing, we're gonna have lower line pressure as a result of disabling that throttle valve, but I'm hoping the shims I have in the pump are enough.
You wanna go back?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's gonna be alright. I think it feels good.
Do you think we bring like an extra valve body just in case?
Yeah.
And that tub?
Yeah.
Valve body swap in the lot.
Yeah, 20 minutes, yeah, we'll be done. I think it'll be fine.
Okay.
I think I just let off a little earlier than I have been, because when I stay in it for maybe a half second longer, it's been shifting.
Yeah, if you're too slow on that 1-2 shift, it hits rev limiter.
I know, it's ramping up so fast. That time I definitely hit it in like a little over 6. So.
Yeah. Okay, so thoughts after the test drive?
So 1-2 feels a little sloppier than we're used to. We had some issues with it running up into the RPMs a little bit before it shifted. 2-3s felt great.
Yeah.
Every time. I mean, 2-3 snaps right in.
I'm kind of undecided whether Matt late shifting was part of the 1-2 problem, because it comes fast, you know, that it winds up real quick, and if you
I will say there were definitely at least 2 times that I shifted after 6.
Yeah, okay. And I have rev limiter set pretty low.
Yeah.
So that could be part of it, but overall, it grabbed gears, it did what it was supposed to. I think our plan right now is to leave it like it is.
Yeah, we're going to try to get some track time, hopefully, before the weekend before Import Face-Off.
What's the calendar look like? We have next weekend, we have the following weekend, and then the weekend after that's IFO.
Yeah.
So we got 2 weeks. Right now the Lexus is torn apart. I have the header off of it. I have the turbo off of it. I welded on the new flange for our bigger wastegate, so hopefully we can get our boost cut or overboosting issue under control. And also I'm replacing the oil feed, because that little, the one that like did the hard turn, it snapped when I was taking it off. It was just like crack, like it was about to bust anyway. So I got one that has a 90 on it. So this one has a 90 on the end of it. So we won't have that hard bend anymore.
Awesome.
So we'll be upgrading that. And then we still have like the intermittent sticking trans brake issue, which I thought I would just pull the valve out without taking the transmission apart. You can pull the solenoid and pull the valve out.
Yeah.
And I thought I would just get it out and wire brush it real good, get it nice and clean, in case the valve itself is just sticking in the bore. But we also are using a cheap trans brake solenoid. It's not that cheap. It's still $100.
Yeah.
But it's the cheapest one.
It's not top of the line.
It's the cheapest one you can find, really. It's the cheapest one I could find on Summit. So I don't think the valve's the problem.
The thing is about that, though, is the only time we've really had a sticking issue on the track was last weekend.
Yeah.
Every other time it's been fine.
That's true. And last weekend was double passes.
Yeah.
So
that was like a triple pass, dude.
Right. But we may have to do that at IFO. So I think
maybe towards the end, but we got 2 to 3 good passes in the Lexus back to back without any sticking issue. I'm riding Mikey's bike, by the way. Thanks, Mikey. It's a woman's bike, by the way.
It is a woman's bike.
His front tire's flat.
Oh, decent.
All on video. Cinematic gold.
I think worst case scenario, we crawl up under the car, move the valve manually.
Make sure it works.
If we're like before each pass, honestly, it's not that hard to do.
Yeah, it's
it'll make sure
accessible.
everything's free.
Yeah.
But every time it's stuck, you can literally push on the plunger
And it
from
just
the
pops
outside,
right in, yeah.
and it'll just click free, and
Yeah.
then it's good.
It's like literally like right on the threshold of pressure. Yeah.
So that may be something we have to do. But anyway, right now we're calling the Z okay. We're gonna hopefully do some testing on it. If not, we're gonna bring a stock valve body.
Just in case.
Because I know all the clutches and stuff are new in the transmission.
Yeah.
If we throw a stock valve body on it,
It should act the same way it always
It should
has,
act
yeah.
at least better. It should.
Yeah.
There'll be no modifications to any of the valves.
Yeah.
So we have that to do in the lanes if we need to, and we haven't even decided what class we're going to run the Lexus in yet. Which,
Yeah.
as of right now, I think it's going to be the 11.5 class.
Yeah.
Because I think we can get real consistent in that area. We can make plenty of power, but we're not fast enough to get in like the forced induction.
Yeah. We
street
really
class.
just need to make sure that we're going to be able to run, 11.3s, 11.2s consistently.
Yeah. Really.
And if that's the case, then
we don't need to run 11.2s, bro. If we could just run 11.4s, then that's fast enough.
Yeah.
To just get in, let out early
Yeah,
or whatever.
you're right.
If you're winning at that point, then you're good anyway.
Yeah.
But it sucks to have them in the same class because then we're kind of taking away each other's chances of winning.
I know. Instead of doubling our
But-
chances, we're halving our chances.
Even though I think the Lexus wants it with the new wastegate, I think it's going to be a 10-second car.
Yeah.
That's not going to be fast enough for forced induction.
But it'll be fast enough to stomp 11.5 if
Holy
need be.
shit, we lost our light. Nice job. So anyway, that's going to be all that we do to the cars this week. We're about to put the Z away, and if everything goes great with the Lexus, we might go make some passes in the Z next week, but more than likely, this is it. This is how it's going to sit. The engine's strong. Everything is really happy with the Z. The transmission's a constant battle that we're just trying to find resolution for, but I do think it's good enough to run in 11.5. So we're happy with how it is right now. Next week, we're going to be tuning you up on the Lexus. Lexus is going to have a new wastegate system. So wait for that video to drop next week. Until then, sit by, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you in a week.